What's shaking, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more of the Smiths as we continue through their non-album material. Once again, big shout out to Daisylusion. And we're continuing through the bonus material from the era of their 1986 album, The Queen is Dead. And the next one is the Draize Train. So if this is a specific proper name reference, I'm not familiar with it. I don't think I've heard the word Draize before, or at least I can't recall. So yes, I feel like I'm particularly ill-suited to predict or postulate about the title in advance, so we'll just see what I can catch on a first listen. This is the Smiths. The track is the Draize Train, and it's a non-album tune from the era of the 1986 album The Queen is Dead. was still wailing, the bass still chugging away. I did wonder even if there was maybe a bit of that slap bass style for that one. But yeah, a brilliant instrumental. And I feel like the train concept was well articulated with some of the sonics. There was a lot of rattling and chugging, and it felt like we were plundering our way down some tracks. And there was a moment where it even sounded like a train whistle, and even more specifically, kind of like that Doppler effect when the train passes you, when the longer waves, or the shorter waves as it approaches, then turn into longer waves as it's receding away from you. So yes, if this is about a specific train or just the idea of a train in general, I feel like it was well articulated by the instrumental sonics. And yeah, there were multiple elements of the sonics that really caught my attention. Number one, I don't know if that was a harmonica, but one of the trembling and shaking elements sounded like a harmonica, but maybe cut up or played idiosyncratically, not more typically with those big, long notes or chords. I'm not sure exactly what the appropriate terminology is when it's a harmonica. I guess chords if you're like plugging multiple holes, right? Nevertheless, I really enjoyed that, and it even seemed like that specific element had a couple different lines, if you will. Then the bass absolutely just chugging away and really groovy and dynamic, whether or not it was played with a slap bass style or just more traditionally, let's say. Then the guitar work, which at the end was sort of flaring up in a bit more of a dramatic way, but for a lot of it, the little flourishes, they sounded like they had a bit of that country twang to them. So in a way, it felt like a very identifiably Smith song, but like a few others, but not the majority of the catalog I've heard from them, I would say. Again, it had a bit of this rural country feel to it. So again, maybe the idea could be that it's passing through not only bigger cities, but more rural areas if you're taking a longer trip on a train. But yeah, definitely an indie rock meets country feel, especially in the guitar performance. And it made me wonder, like, knowing that Morrissey can write music, not just lyrics, but also maybe suspecting, and I'm trying to remember if people have talked about this, but that maybe Marr was writing a lot of at least the guitar lines, if not the music more generally, when it came to the Smiths catalog. I wonder who wrote this tune. And yeah, so again, not hearing Morrissey's voice always feels, a bit unusual when hearing a Smiths track, because his melodically bendy and very charismatic and particular vocal stylings are a big part of their sound as I've come to hear it. But I've also now heard a few instrumentals by them, and of those, this might be my favorite. It really had a great sound to it. And I don't know how long that was. Maybe like 4.5, 5 minutes? Yeah, just over 5. So even though, that's a fair length for an instrumental tune, maybe even on the longer end of an instrumental track when it comes to rock music, I feel like it could have gone on more, and it was indeed still doing a lot right as it started to fade out. Again, the guitar was flaring up and the bass was still popping away, so yeah, I feel like it could have gone on longer. A really compelling one. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.